Well, hello everyone. It's Feroshia here from Coach Training World, and I'm sitting here screen to screen with the amazing former athlete, Allison Falk. And the best thing about Allison is she is really giving back to her people from a place of having gone through it herself. As a former athlete, she was at the top of her game, and boom, things happened and everything changed overnight. So I'm really excited to talk with her about how she's helping her people to really find their next thing as a coach, and also really curious to kind of start off what brought you into coaching. I don't think we've ever talked about that. We just kind of jumped into the process. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to chat screen to screen. And I think to answer your question, like what brought me into coaching, I love growing and I love learning. And I just remember when I was transitioning out of my soccer career, I really struggled. And I really struggled to figure out what was next for me. What does my eating routine look like? What does my exercise routine look like? Who are my people? Like, how do I find my team? Like, what sort of job am I supposed to have? So I ended up working with a life coach who helped me through that process. And that really opened the door for me in terms of, wow, like this is what it's like to work with a coach. I have a coach in soccer, and now I have a coach for life, like post soccer, and helping me through that. And so that's ultimately what drew me to coaching, was experiencing the magic of it myself.
Wow. It's interesting because I do hear that a lot from people, and I certainly know that journey myself. I worked with a coach a couple times, and I was like, I love how I feel around this person. I feel invincible. I can see possibilities again. So being in that role now, what do you notice is kind of true for your clients? What are they struggling with? What is it that you're helping them with? Kind of, if we could get an inside peek into what you do, I'd love to hear.
Yes. So I'm really helping former elite athletes who are struggling to fill that void when they're retiring from sport. Like find that light, like find that life, that career that they love as much as their sport. And so a lot of clients come to me with these questions of, did I peak at the age of 25 and I'm never going to find something that I'm as excited about again? They're coming to me with questions of, how the heck will I make a living? Like, I have not planned for this. I've been being paid plain, or I'm retiring from college. Like, what does career look like? Like, how do I not just scrape by, and how do I make some money here? How do I make a living? They're also coming to me with questions around, like, how do I eat normally? Like, I've never I've been able to eat whatever I want, and I've been eating a lot. Like, how do I translate that to life after sport and not gain 30 pounds, right? They're coming to me with questions of, like, again, like, what is my exercise routine? They're coming to me with questions around who's my team now, like who's my tribe, because I was so close knit with these athletes and my fellow teammates. How do I find that again in life after sport? So those are some examples of some of the questions that clients come to me with, and it's just been such a privilege and an honor to be able to work with them and help them just like find and define a life and an identity that they love as much as they love their sport.
I bet. And something you said that really caught my attention, and the comedian in me just couldn't resist, but it's like not being an athlete, and just even the whole thing of not suddenly being able to eat what you want, just that alone is a huge issue. And just, having a long distance, what do you call it, ultra runner partner, watching him just go through, if I'm not running, and he's still eating, and it's just, you just don't even think about like these changes, that it's about your identity, your social identity, and even your health. And it sounds like at the core, like, who am I now? Who can I be? And it sounds like those questions are really important. So what would you give as your best advice as someone who's gone through that process and someone who's thinking about that next step? What's the one secret that allowed you to break through and step into something that you deeply love beyond working with a coach?
Yes, that's a great question. Well, I think I have a couple words of wisdom. So one, I think first and foremost, knowing that you're not alone. I felt very isolated, and a lot of clients feel very isolated through their struggles. And just knowing that you're not alone, like you have the support of coaches, right, of friends, of family, of other athletes who've gone through this. I think in terms of the secret to success, or like in terms of like what I went through, I would just say it's like having the confidence that the answers are within you. And like you get to define your own experience, and by one, like understanding and having the awareness around what's going on with you, and two, having that confidence in a lot of these amazing skill sets that you develop as an athlete around work ethic, around motivation, around being able to get things done, around communication, working with others. Those are all your superpowers in this next chapter of your life, to figuring it out, to figuring out what you want to do. So please, like, have the confidence that you have the skills and superpowers needed to figure it out.
Well, and I know certainly you were able to hold that confidence and to really take those strengths and translate them as a coach. Definitely, for sure. You know, what I'm imagining is in today's crazy COVID times, when athletes can't even play on a field, there's a lot out there for them that they're probably contemplating. I'm just curious what your thoughts are about the people that might be even questioning their career trajectory right now, knowing that, assuming we're going to get back on the field and back into life, but even the people that maybe are questioning when their endpoint is, and this, I'm just imagining, might be like, maybe it's sooner than I thought.
Yes, and I would encourage, well, so one, I think potentially one of the gifts of this time is that it's a great time for reflection and just taking a temperature check for where you are. And sometimes we can get so busy and so focused on whatever path we've created for ourselves that it's hard to take a step back or get your head up for a second to evaluate where you are. So in the time that we're in right now, if you have that space, like taking your head up, like evaluating where you're at right now, and just knowing that, you know, you can, I guess, like you can define that path that you want to be on. And that I'd encourage anyone, like, you can never start planning too early, even if you're not necessarily thinking about retirement, right? Or maybe you're starting to think, oh, wow, retirement may be earlier than I expected. Now is the time to start thinking about it, because you can help yourself with that transition out of sport. And for example, like, start thinking around like, well, how will I make a living when I'm retired? And are there certain jobs or companies or roles that maybe I want to shadow or learn more about, or identify some mentors or folks that I can chat with and start exploring what it is that I'm interested in. So I think my call out for this time that we're in right now is, one, it can be a great time for reflection and picking your head up. And two, it's never too early to start thinking about what does life look like when I am ready to retire, and really trying to set yourself up for success, so you're not as scrambling as much, right? When you are retiring. That's something I wish I would have thought more about prior to retirement.
You know, I imagine that most of us could go through that wake-up call or that reality check in a whole different way if we actually were pre-thinking it and kind of creating that preferred future while still playing the game. And I often see that a lot with entrepreneurs, the people that work in corporate, and they want to eventually be business owners. And what a perfect time when you have the opportunity, whether it's a reflection moment such as these times, or while you're still at work, to start planning for that next, what I consider your next and best career ever. Yeah.
Yes, your next and best career, exactly.
Yeah, I was wondering myself, it's like, I wonder what it would take for us to stop waiting for the wake-up call. You know, it's the most effective way to live our life, and yet, you know, there's something that always keeps us in the grind, and I think you bring such great insight and all the right reasons why we need to prepare ourselves and really treat ourselves as we're working towards our whole life, not just the present moment, but obviously being in the present too. Is there anything that
that's one?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I think that's one of the pieces of magic of coaching, is that you're able to create this space and time for yourself in working with someone to really like reflect on where you're at and get out, pick your head up out of the grind, if that makes sense. And I think it's Oprah on one of her podcasts says the greatest gift you can give yourself is time. And so if you give yourself that time and space, I think it can be a beautiful thing to start thinking about, how do I live my best life? Like, what does that best career really look like? And giving yourself that gift.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you if there's anything else you wanted to say, and you said something so exquisite. I don't know if there's anything more, but I'd love to hear it.
I think I would say, you know, in a world where busyness is a badge of honor and do move quickly, technology these days, it's hard to unplug. We're constantly on our phones. It's harder than ever to really pause and step back, right? And reflect and give yourself that time and space to live your best life. And so I think honoring your future self, honoring the best version of yourself by investing in that time and space, I think is quite the gift.
It is. And if I remember right, your website is thekirbymethod.com?
It's kirbymethod.com.
Yeah. And so I'll go ahead and put it in the notes. So if anyone wants to learn more about your amazing work, or is an athlete or knows an athlete that could really benefit from that transition without the drama or the trauma, right? You're definitely someone who's gone through the journey, walked away from it in a beautiful place. And I'm just so thankful that you're out there helping other people make that transition in meaningful ways so that they don't feel like that was it or that's all there is. Yeah. Thank you so much, Allison, for being you and being here, and this opportunity to get to hang out with you again, too. It's such a delight.
Thanks so much for having me. And I just, there's a special place in my heart for you, Feroshia, and Coach Training World. And it was just, and has continued to be like such a beautiful experience in getting involved with a community of coaches and clients, and really being able to help others, you know, and help others through the same experience that I had. So thank you for all your, you know, guidance and mentorship and leadership.
Thank you, Allison.